Artrice.
I just had been working a lot, a little stressed, had a kind of a demanding job at the time. So it was a lot of ripping and running. Around that time, it was COVID was out, cleaning a home where people live, helping them with their day to day tasks, taking them shopping, things like that. It was real stressful coming in contact with COVID, people having COVID, and working with people with COVID. It's just a little stressful. So I believe that played a part in what happened to me. Well, I had been feeling not well for a long time. I have been struggling with high blood pressure complications since the age of 19. So this has been 20 odd some years dealing with this and not being on the proper medication for them to regulate me or stabilize the pressure. So my heart was getting a little bigger and was trying to pump harder of my blood all through my body. So that put the pressure on me. It kept my blood pressure sky high and my numbers were out of this world. It had been that way for decades. It was a buildup of everything I had been through from 19 till 3 years ago. I was working and I was in the group home, sitting there at a table in a chair, doing my paperwork for the day. I just completed breakfast for the girls of the house. And I'm sitting there in this chair, and all of a sudden, I had a real bad headache. And then something felt like it pushed me, and I fell out the chair to the floor. So I called for one of the girls to get the other lady that is at another house down the street. So she came to the house and then she picked me up. I couldn't move. She picked me up. They put me on the couch. She began to do my vitals. She wrote everything down. She put a cold compress on my head, my back of my neck, elevated my feet. And all of a sudden, I couldn't feel the whole left side of my body from head to toe. So then they called my mother and my brother, and they came and picked me up from this house, and we went to the emergency room. I went to the emergency room. We went to St. Joseph Hospital, Wichita, Kansas. They did a lot of tests, pushed me into a room, echocardiograms and head scans and blood draws and I mean everything you can think of. And the next day they came back to me and they told me what they found. They said I had a CV stroke. That's a cardiovascular stroke. And I said, well, I can't feel the left side of my body. And they said, we don't know how long you're going to be this way. It could be a month, it could be a year. It all depends on if you work on it. I had just turned 40 years old. And while I'm in the hospital, they finally went through all my medication. They figured out some other things that was wrong with me as well. Come to find out, I had a closing of one of my arteries to my kidney. So they went in and said, look, we need to put a stent in one of your arteries. I go, why? He said, because it's closing. And that could be part of your problem as well, why you had the stroke. I said, well, why didn't anyone ever tell me about this before? He says, I don't know, but I see it now, and we're going to handle it now. And they went in and put a stent through my artery to my kidney. And then he says, well, we're going to have to change your medication. We went through all your medicine. We're throwing it all away. We're going to scrap it and start fresh. I have lost weight, changed job, works a lot better. I went back to customer service where I get to talk to people all day and I'm helping people change lives. And I like it, what I do now. It's not stressful. Stay on top of what's going on with you. Don't be afraid to ask questions to your doctor or your physician, your specialist. Ask the questions. Get online. Get into a book. Ask other people what they've been through to try to figure out, well, I'm having these symptoms. Well, you had that symptom. It kind of sounds like, could be where I'm at. Just ask questions to your physician or a doctor. Don't be afraid. And watch your diet, watch your lifestyle. You don't want to do anything that will hinder or hurt yourself. I've always been a person who've had stress. I can't remember a day I haven't had any stress. So since the age of 5, I've had stress. Babysitting other people's children, being responsible, and then the age of 9, 10, having to drive early. That's stressful when you're 9, 10 years old, having to drive a car. Because your elderly parent can't drive that well. So I had to, take over that lead, take over that role. I had to take over a lot of different roles and wear many, 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 many hats. For me, it would be a swirl. In the swirl of color would be the colors of blue, red, yellow, green, white, with black on the outside. Because I've been through the black. That's where I was. Now I'm coming through the beautiful colors to get to the middle to make it through. So you go from the outside, black, coming through all the colors, the blue, the green, the yellow, the white's in the middle, going through a hole to the outside to get through, to make it to the other side. You have to live now to be able to live later.